Hey, welcome to another episode of AWS traffic encryption using self-signed certificates. Today, I will show you how to deploy Application Load Balancer. So just to remind you, this is the current setup that we have. Here are two ECS tasks that are deployed in the private subnets, so they cannot be accessed from the internet yet. And this is what we are going to have at the end of this video. As you can see here, we have our load balancer, which will be the focus of this video. But let's go through the whole path. So here we have our client, and this portion of traffic can be either in HTTP or HTTPS. In this video, we will encrypt it, so we're going to have HTTPS, which is the best practice, but it requires a registered domain name. So if you don't have an available registered domain name and you don't want to pay for one, that's fine. You can keep this section of the path as HTTP because the focus of this tutorial is to encrypt this part of the path between the load balancer and ECS. However, in this tutorial, we will encrypt traffic end-to-end from the client until the target task. Okay, so let's analyze our traffic path. So it starts here with the client request that first goes to the DNS server to get an IP of our domain name, and then through the internet gateway it would go all the way to the load balancer in our public subnet. This is where our TLS encrypted traffic would terminate, because the load balancer would have a TLS certificate that would be coming from the ACM. So yes, we are going to request a certificate here in this AWS service. And then the traffic, which is unencrypted for now, I emphasize just for now, we can encrypt it later, will be forwarded to either of these tasks depending on our load balancing algorithm here. Right, so let's get started. Let's navigate to the EC2 page, and there on the left hand side we can find load balancers. Click on create load balancer, and we need an application load balancer. Let's name it. Oops, caps lock is on. Yes, it will be internet facing one. Ep.4 should be enough. We need to change the VPC from the default to the one that we created earlier. And if you remember our diagram, we plan to spread the load balancer across both public subnets in both availability zones A and B. So no, it should not be in the private subnet. Public A and then public B. Brilliant. Next thing is security group. We need to create one because we don't have it at the moment. So let's do that. Let's create a new security group. Let's give it a description. We need to change the VPC from the default one to the one that we created. And let's add rules. So if you decided to go with the HTTP and not use any certificate, then use this one. You can make it more strict if you want. And if you decided to go for HTTPS, then you need to add that. I will add both, but you need to have only one. Okay, that should be enough. Nice. So the security group is created. Let's find it here. Here we go. Now we need to tell our load balancer where to route the client traffic. And that's why we are going to create a target group. We need to keep it, no, actually we need to change it to the IP addresses. As always, we are going to give it our super cool name. Of course, we are going to use HTTPS. That's the whole point of this video, of this tutorial even. IPv4 is fine. These bits are fine as well. And for the health check path, let's add service name. So it will be /service for me. Click next. This part can be skipped because it will be handled by the ECS service. So we are ready to create our target group. Okay, now that we have our target group ready, let's go back to the Application Load Balancer page and let's refresh it and add it here. Here we go. This is the one. And we need to change the listener to HTTPS. Then the security policy would be fine as is. And as I mentioned earlier, we need to deploy a TLS service certificate. And the way we're going to do it is through the ACM. That is the one. So we need to request a certificate here. Yes, it is public certificate. This is my registered domain name, so you need to enter the one that you have. Keep it as DNS validation. We will validate it shortly. I will show you how. And that is it. We can request it here. So we've requested our certificate, but as you can see, the status is pending validation. So how do you validate an ACM certificate? To do that, you need to go to the Route 53. If you have a domain registered with AWS, you would create a hosted zone earlier. It would look something like this. And would have a couple of one NS and one SOA record. So our goal here is to add a CNAME record. And the values would look like this. Here's the CNAME name and here's the CNAME value. Let's copy the first one. Let's copy paste it. Remove the domain name part. make sure to change the record type from A to CNAME. And then do the same for the CNAME value. Remove the dot at the end. TLS 5 minutes is fine. Let's create it. Okay, as you can see, the CNAME record have been added here. So now we need to wait for a couple of minutes for our certificate to change its status to the issued. So let's wait. Fantastic, the status has been changed to issued, so we can carry on with our load balancer. We need to get back to our Create Application Load Balancer page and input our newly created certificate. Here it is. The other ALB functions are out of scope for this tutorial, so just double check all the details here and click Create Load Balancer. As you can see, it's in the provisioning status, so give it a couple of minutes. Okay, the load balancer is active now, so let's do a quick summary. In this video, we have created a security group, a target group, a TLS certificate, and finally a load balancer. So it means we are ready to add a load balancing feature to our ECS service. Let's do that. See you in the next video.